All right, day 3 of the 7 days is ended. Lee ended the day actually with force 1. If you look at the video, you'll see he's actually posted over. It's because I've already started day 4 here. But he ended the day here, stacked with Longstreet's 2 divisions. And it was pretty much a horrible day all the way around for the Confederacy. Not much moved, and the big reason for that was the weather. It was a rainy day, which precludes any kind of grand schemes of maneuver. Jackson made a little bit of progress towards the front lines, but wasn't able to do with him what I'd wanted to do. And so holding him back on day 2 didn't really gain a whole lot for the Confederacy. Longstreet tried to do a coordinated assault on McCall's division, which was up along the creek here, just below, or I should say just across the creek from Mechanicsville. And they had a great flank attack set up, a +7 modifier in combat, which is, I mean, that's huge. But whiffed on the assault roll, so all of Longstreet's boys ended up getting fatigued, and no combat was produced. And so had to have another impulse, another initiative win, set up another assault, and on that assault they actually achieved a grand assault. So AP Hill, which is in Force 2, was able to contribute his 2 divisions, so a massive attack on McCall. The result of it, however, wasn't the worst possible thing that could happen for the Confederacy, but it was the second worst. So the Confederacy rolled a 2, and Union rolled a 6. The McCall's division was disordered and forced to retreat, but it was not routed. And the casualty differential was the Confederacy had a lot of troops. They had like 50-some factors of troop strength to McCall's, 9? Which was multiplied by 3 because he was in a fortified position. Nevertheless, McCall only took 1 casualty, whereas the Confederacy took a grand total of 4 in that engagement in Lorraine. So that brings our net score back to 0 points for the Confederacy. So all the gains they made on days 1 and 2 were pretty much wiped away by an ill-coordinated assault by Longstreet near Mechanicsville. So that's day 3. Now we're on day 4. The weather's good. It's a promising situation. The Union line, it now stretches like almost like an axe. It goes straight, forms this point, and then out. Could evacuate the force that's located here. Force 5 is one of Porter's divisions. I think that's Seymour that's in there. It's not a strong division, only 7 troop strength points, but it is in a fort, and it's overwatching the Mechanicsville crossing and the approaches to Richmond from the north. So if Lee suffers a defeat down in here, this does provide opportunity. Holding this position makes sense because it does provide opportunity for a lunge at Richmond, because really there's nothing, no force of consequence between Porter's 5th Corps and Richmond. There's only a couple small divisions, or small brigades rather. There's a fortified one here. This is actually a regiment, 14th South Carolina, and Branch's brigade under AP Hill are basically all that's between them and the capital. And so holding that does make sense. The Confederacy does have Jackson coming down. So any kind of lunge now, Jackson could deviate and pretty much destroy anything that the Union threw across the Chickahominy there. So the goal of McClellan right now is to maintain his position and fend off this assault. It doesn't make sense to change the base just yet. He's not forced to until somebody crosses the county line somewhere down in here. It's kind of hard to see on the screen on the map, but the county line runs something along here. So McClellan is winning this battle so far. Lee really needs to somehow force the Union to the Chickahominy and force a crossing and get to the rear, get at these wagons, force McClellan to begin to maneuver, because McClellan on the move is not, he's going to be clumsy on the move. So somehow he's got to pry him into a position from which he's forced to counter maneuver and then defeat him in a battle of maneuver. That's really the goal here of the 7 days as I see it. And so far the weather and some very poor movement rolls for the Confederacy have thwarted that. We'll see what happens here on day number 4. So at the end of this, it'll be the halfway mark of the 7 days, and we'll see if there's any prospect of Lee achieving anything like the historic results that were achieved in 1862.